As many of you that may or may not be returning viewers of the channel, I tend to have a somewhat inconsistent video upload schedule. The main thing that holds my videos back from coming out is how long the animations take to create. That time it takes can vary from a few hours to around 2 months. We don't talk about that one. In an attempt to fix that problem, I've decided that for this video I will make an animation in a 1 hour time limit. This means that I can only animate for 1 hour. Now I will clarify a few things before we get into that hour. Setting up the model and scene will not count for the hour, as I'm technically not animating with that. Also, no matter what, after the hour ends I will not be animating any further than what I have. So if I have a broken down animation, that's what I'll be left with. Now that the smaller matters have been discussed, let's get into how it will be possible to create an animation in 1 hour. Now, I said I can only animate for 1 hour. That doesn't include planning out the animation beforehand, as this challenge wouldn't be possible without some preparation coming into it. So let's start off with what Pokemon will be in this animation. That's right, I said Pokemon. Since I only have 1 hour, it's not realistic to include multiple Pokemon in that time frame. So the question is still, which Pokemon I want to choose? I need to choose a Pokemon that has a relatively simple design that doesn't have too much going on. Alright, I've got it. Raito. Why did I pick Raito exactly? Well, I'll explain that in a bit more detail later. But since we have the Pokemon decided, let's get to what kind of animation it will be. I was looking at Raiton's Pokédex entry for inspiration and found a sentence where it says that its horn can crush diamonds. This works well as it fits the criteria of being a relatively easy and feasible idea that can be implemented in a time crunch. So that is what the animation will be based around. To be honest, I don't know what else to put here, so I'm probably going to cut this mid-sentence. Okay, now I'm going to set the timer for 1 hour and we'll see whether or not I can finish with something respectable.
Alright, so the hour started. So what I need to do is figure out exactly what, I already planned out exactly what I want to do for the animation. It's going to be it has to be a short animation because if it was any longer, if it was a long animation, I would not have enough time to do it.
This being a race against time meant I had to go into this hour already having a basic idea of what I wanted the animation to be. Well, at least in my head. Turns out, planning an animation exclusively in your head isn't the best idea, as that comes to backfire on me later on.
Alright, I'm going to look up a quick tutorial, I'm not going to lie. I'm not gonna lie.
But for now, I started with getting the base animation down for Raito. Since I needed this animation to be as simple as possible in order to fit within the hour time limit, I opted to start the animation by having Raito pull the diamond out from behind its back.
Or just have it pulled out from behind itself on some like cartoon logic stuff. Like you won't know where the diamond came from, you'll just know that he pulled it out from somewhere.
Look, it's not the most logically sound thing you've seen, but with only an hour, I had to cut corners somewhere. That just happens to be the logic part of that. Animations don't always need logic. For example, why is Reshiram using Fusion Flare on a random Garbodor? Because I said so. Moving on, something important I decided to do was attach the diamond to Raiton's hand early, as I will explain why here.
Now, I need to do this right now or else it's not going to work. So first, I need to put a constraint, Raiton armature, its right hand, and then set inverse.
So yeah, as you heard, if I were to wait to apply the constraint which allows Raito to move its arm with the diamond following, applying it later will waste more time down the line, which time is something I didn't have an abundance of here. At this point, after getting the first part of the animation in place, 10 minutes had already passed, resulting in losing a sixth of the time left. Now, 16% of the time may not sound like much, but for animation specifically, a good amount of time is needed to properly tune and refine the animation, depending on what that animation is. However, this wasn't that bad of a situation for me, as since this will end up being a relatively short animation, this was actually good pace for finishing the full animation. But we still have 50 minutes left, so let's continue from where I left off. I was steadily approaching the most important and yet trickiest part of the animation, the diamond crushing scene. Now, cycling back to Raiton's Pokédex entry, I originally wanted Raiton to crush the diamond by piercing it directly with its horn, but there were a few complications with that. If you would direct your attention to Raiton's design, its arms are not long enough to have Raiton pierce the diamond by shoving it through its horn, so that route was closed off for me. Instead of piercing the diamond, I went for a more brute force method, which involves Raiton smashing the diamond against its horn.
The diamond going through the horn doesn't matter here, it's gonna shatter on impact. Okay, this could work. This could work.
My unorthodox method of destroying precious material aside, I actually had to use a little trick that I've used in some of my past animations. That of course was using the camera view to my advantage. Since I wanted a more expressive animation of Raiton lifting its arm up for the moment before crashing the diamond down in its horn, I had to orientate Raiton's arm unnaturally in order to get the result I wanted, which looks wrong outside of the camera, but through the camera actually looks pretty solid.
Yeah, that looked a lot better. That looked a lot better than what I had. Look, I'm gonna take what I can get for within an hour of time here.
As for the actual diamond shatter effect, I tried a few things like fracturing the entire diamond and trying to have it fall through a simulation.
Now here's where the interesting part comes in. Let's see if I remember how to do this correctly. I think it's cell fracture. Yeah, so this is like the broken pieces. Now I need to figure out a way to make it like combust.
Little did I know at the time, trying to do it this way gave me more problems than I bargained for.
Hopefully I remembered how to do this correctly. I should have looked up how to do this earlier, but that's okay. Alright, I'm gonna look up a quick tutorial, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Tutorial within the 1 hour challenge is kind of crazy, but we're gonna have to do that.
Yeah, looking up a tutorial during a 1 hour time limit was pretty risky. The worst part was that even with wasting around 5 minutes of time, I still couldn't get it to work. So I scrapped that idea and used the explode modifier instead, which by the name of it, I'm sure y'all can guess what it does. But more specifically, it uses a particle system that breaks the object down into smaller pieces. After that, I just added a few extra details like eyelid animation, animating whatever this is called, and a subtle arm movement here to make the animation look more interesting than what it was. At this point, I still had around 10 minutes left and I already felt comfortable where the animation was at. So I tried to add impact frames, but funnily enough, I forgot how to add them. To be fair, the last time I made impact frames was actually in this video where I actually explained how I made them. So that's something you could check out later if you're interested. Putting that blunder aside, even though I already knew about it, the alarm still jump scared me.
Oh, stop. Oh my god. Oh, shut up. Oh my gosh, I knew it was coming and I just forgot about it entirely. Yeah, get that out of my ears.
With that, the time was up. Now let's see what the animation looks like right now. The animation for being animated in an hour looks a lot better than I originally thought it would look before starting this challenge. However, I can still add a bit more to this animation. Remember, I said I can only animate for the hour. That doesn't include a few fixes that don't involve animating. One of those fixes include giving this colorless diamond an actual shader. Alright, so we're gonna start here. We're gonna make the diamond shader now. A lot of this doesn't make sense right now, but it will in a second. Now we're gonna add like a darker color maybe. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks great. Wow, that actually came out really well. I think I'm liking how it looks. Now I'm gonna fix the lighting. That's pretty good. That's all we can do because we didn't animate anything. All we did was just add the diamond texture and fix the lighting so it doesn't look like this. That's it for this part at least. I'm gonna add a few things in the edit, in the software, and then that'll be the completed animation. I added a few other things in the edit, but I think it would be better to just show you all the completed animation. This may not be my best animation, but I still like how it came out. But with that said, this 1 hour challenge not only forced me to be more efficient with my limited time, but it was actually pretty fun to do. If you all have any other interesting ideas, leave them down below in the comment section. I might do them. I don't know, we'll have to see. If I learned anything throughout this experience, is that it's okay for you to take your time, because something great could be waiting for you just around the corner. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.